Thank you. This blend fits neatly into our rest and manage stress level of the wellness pyramid. As a child, my family spent a lot of time outdoors. It didn't matter whether it was the ocean, the desert, or the mountains. My parents made sure that we were exposed to nature. Through many of those hours spent outside, I grew to love the forest. It is the place that I would call home. I felt most complete when I was in the forest. Humans have existed for thousands of years. Through most of this time, we spent a great deal of our time in nature. We evolved in natural surroundings. Cities have only been a recent invention caused by the industrial age. As a matter of fact, in 1800, only 3% of the population of the world lived in a city. By 2016, that percentage had grown to 54%, and by 2050, it's projected that 66% of the global population will live in cities. Even more concerning is that studies sponsored by the Environmental Protection Agency reveal that the average American spends 93% of their time indoors. Andrew O'Hara mentioned this earlier. That study was done in 1992. In today's world, where urbanization and indoor lifestyles prevail, our connection with the natural world has become very distant. The term Shinrin-Yoku, coined by the Japanese Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries in 1982, refers to the act of immersing oneself in the atmosphere of the forest, connecting with its essence. Now, this form of ecotherapy quickly gained popularity in Japan. In the 1990s, researchers began scientifically studying the physiological benefits of forest bathing, confirming what we intuitively already know. Spending time in nature is beneficial for our well-being. While living conditions have drastically changed in 200 years, genes take far longer to adapt. Because we're living in more urban areas and our genes are adapted to living in nature, we are physiologically at odds with our environment through most of our day. Sympathetic nervous systems are frequently overstimulated, and many people commonly deal with high stress levels. This has become normal for us as we engage in our busy lives and live in concrete jungles full of stimulus. All of our physiological functions evolved in a natural environment. This explains why when we come into contact with nature, we intuitively just relax. We feel home. The stress-reducing practice of forest bathing has been found to have profound effects on our health. Moreover, research reveals that even as little as 10 to 20 minutes spent outdoors each day can lead to increased happiness and well-being. Nature has the power to nourish our souls and enhance our overall quality of life. Now, Shinrin-Yoku is a very simple activity. It consists of 3 parts. Number 1, disengagement from your daily routine. Number 2, deep breathing and nature connection through a series of quiet activities or invitations. And number 3, transitioning back to your daily life. So first, find some area of untouched nature to spend some time in. You may find a favorite tree, stream, or waterfall. What's important is to find a place where you can immerse yourself and connect to nature. This place should be some place that is close enough that you can visit frequently. Next, connect with nature through some quiet activities. Begin by taking a few slow, deep breaths and simply observing the wonder around you. Try to see nature through the eyes of a child, where everything is an interesting, beautiful miracle. With this fresh perspective, you can see the amazing patterns in tree bark, observe the activity of ants on the ground, or hear water in a nearby stream. You can engage all your senses in this part of forest bathing. Listen intently for various bird songs, the sound of moving water, or the wind shuffling through the forest canopy. You can watch the treetops moving with the shifting breeze, or birds flying from tree to tree. Touching your natural environment can be a profound experience for you. You can stop to feel the dirt that the plants are growing in, experience the damp richness of the soil, feel the coolness of the stream as it flows by. Henry David Thoreau once said, "I frequently tramped 8 or 10 miles through the deepest snow to keep an appointment with a beech tree, or a yellow birch, or an old acquaintance among the pines." Use your own intuition to find your tree, one that speaks to you or has features that you relate to. It may be a young tree that's just starting its life. It may be an old, scarred, and twisted tree that's become strong through its years of difficult wind, storms, and snow. Let the forest speak to you through your heart, mind, and all your senses. The poet Matsuo Basho said, "Not knowing the name of the tree, I stood in the flood of its sweet scent." Finally, you'll slowly transition back to life. You may be reluctant to leave the forest, as I often am, and get back to normal life, but the point of Shinrin-Yoku is to have that time with nature change you. You can help facilitate that change by asking yourself questions. What will you bring back to the world from this experience? What has this time with nature taught you? And how can you be more like that tree, deeply rooted and firm, yet flexible to the winds around you? So what if your schedule doesn't allow you to spend as much time in the forest as you'd like? I would love to spend 2 to 4 hours a day there, right? So researchers developed a study to determine if nature and its benefits could be brought indoors. By sampling forest air, researchers discovered that the trees released chemicals called phytoncides into the atmosphere. These chemicals mainly consisted of limonene, alpha-pinene, beta-pinene, linalool, amongst others. Names we're all familiar with, right? The researchers then had participants sleep in a hotel room while diffusing essential oils containing these phytoncides. And they were tested alongside those who'd participated in a forest bathing experience to see if there were differences or similarities. Over the 3 days, the study participants experienced the same benefits as those who'd actually participated in Shinrin-Yoku. doTERRA, I know, I'm super excited about this as well. doTERRA has developed a blend of CPTG, certified pure, tested grade essential oils that contain these same phytoncides found in the forest air. Shinrin-Yoku Forest Bathing Blend brings the rejuvenating essence of lush forests right into your home. Crafted with utmost care, Shinrin-Yoku harmoniously blends distilled lemon, magnolia leaf, patchouli, Siberian fir, cypress, hinoki, grapefruit, lavender, cardamom, geranium, and lemon petitgrain. Now, I mentioned the science, and we've used the science of these phytoncides found in the forest air to create a blend with those same chemical constituents. Now, let me share with you, which I'm super excited about, our own internal pilot study that we did. So I sit on the scientific research committee with Dr. Nicole Stevens, Alex DeBell, Dr. Osgathorpe, and we're kind of nerdy, and we like to study on ourselves sometimes. So this is a study on us, okay? We had 6 healthy participants, diffused the blend for 8 hours each night for 6 consecutive nights. Participants were then tested for cortisol levels, natural killer cell counts and function, and cytokine levels. So number one, overall findings indicate that after one night of diffusion, average cortisol levels were significantly lower than baseline. Number two, after 3 nights of diffusion, average cortisol levels were still significantly lower than our baseline. Number three, several participants showed positive changes in biomarkers related to a healthy inflammatory response. Number four, several participants showed increased natural killer cell count and function, indicating positive effects on the immune system that may be statistically significant if we were to have a larger sample size. Number five, overall blood pressure readings in the morning following Shinrin-Yoku were decreased compared to control and approached statistical significance. So for the size of this small pilot study of just 6 of us, these are amazing results. And as a group of scientists, we are very optimistic that in a larger study, continued a little longer, statistical significance may be reached in every endpoint that we tested. So since I was a part of the study, and it's not a violation of HIPAA to share with you my own data, I want to show my own data on diffusing this blend. So I, as a relatively healthy individual, was involved in the study. So I found this data fascinating. Number one, my systolic blood pressure fell 30 points from the beginning of the study to the end. My diastolic blood pressure fell 24 points from the beginning of the study to the end. And my pulse dropped 10 points. My morning cortisol levels fell from 23.9 down to 14.5 at the end of the study. So that's a 40% drop in cortisol level in 1 week. Remember that cortisol levels are a stress hormone. My lymphocyte count increased from 2,870 up to 3,347. That's a 15% increase in lymphocytes. My natural killer cell count increased from 253 up to 402. That means that my natural killer cells increased by 59% in the week that I diffused the Shinrin-Yoku blend nightly. So I now have data showing that when I diffuse this blend, I affect not only my immune system, but also my cortisol levels as a marker of stress and my blood pressure and pulse. Now it's kind of interesting, we read the data all the time, but when we do it on ourselves and we see the results on ourselves, we're like, oh my gosh, look what this does, this is so cool. And that was kind of my response with this one. Now, of course, I would love to spend 2 to 4 hours a day in the forest, breathing the mountain air and spending time in the wonder of nature. But my schedule just doesn't permit that. However, I can diffuse this oil every night while I sleep to attain the benefits seen in this study. Based on these studies, and from our expertise, we have created this Shinrin-Yoku blend. This blend was created by Dr. David Hill. I got to spend some time with him as he created this blend, and it was so impressive to see this master at work. It has immediately become my favorite blend. Not only because of the amazing aroma, but also because of the science behind it. The aroma is very complex. I actually have it on my wrist right now. I find that when I first smell the blend, I smell that foundational piece of patchouli. This is the aroma that gives all the others an opportunity to build and shine. The next aroma that I smell after a few minutes of putting it on my skin is the lemon and grapefruit. I can smell the limonene and the sunshine in these oils. After a few minutes, I begin to smell the forest of hinoki, cypress, and Siberian fir oils. Now this brings me home in my soul. And then lastly, I smell the leaf of magnolia and lavender in this beautiful blend. It finishes off nice and smooth. So if you scan this QR code up here, you can access all of doTERRA's education courses. And tomorrow, our Shinrin-Yoku education course will go live. So within this course, you can download also a new Shinrin-Yoku ebook. And also the course includes a 10-minute guided visualization that you can use in addition to diffusing the Shinrin-Yoku blend for a powerful, grounding, and relaxing experience. You will also find courses on the Serenity products and the microbiome. So I would like to finish here with my favorite poem that I often contemplate in my own forest bathing experiences as I spend time in the mountains of Utah. It's called Good Timber by Douglas Mallock. The tree that never had to fight for sun and sky and air and light, but stood out in the open plain and always got its share of rain, never became a forest king, but lived and died a scrubby thing. The man who never had to toil to gain and farm his patch of soil, who never had to win his share of sun and sky and light and air, never became a manly man, but lived and died as he began. Good timber does not grow with ease. The stronger wind, the stronger trees. The further sky, the greater length. The more the storm, the more the strength. By sun and cold, by rain and snow, in trees and men, good timbers grow. Where thickest lies the forest growth, we find the patriarchs of both, and they hold counsel with the stars, whose broken branches show the scars of many winds and much of strife. This is the common law of life. Thank you, my friends.